Hi there, welcome to my midnight movie. This is Shirley with Club Afia. You recall that Club Afia is the club for women where there are no borders, and that there are no borders at Club Afia because we do a lot of our work online, and that is a necessity and a very useful, helpful way to work in this time, and also because we reach out to women everywhere, on every continent, in every country we reach out to women, and our big mission is to support women's leadership everywhere. Mhm. So I am doing this video. It's like midnight. It's minutes to midnight, but I am doing this video because I said I would. I did a 30-day challenge, and today has just been filled with all kinds of things. So I'm doing this late because, again, I'd also said in the beginning that I would. I had thought of just doing a whole series of them and then just kind of posting one every day. And for some reason, I decided to do it the hard way and do one every day. Actually, film one and edit and so on and post it every day. So that's why I'm doing this, because I have to do this because I said I would do one every day, and you have to do what you say you're going to do. And that actually is, what I'm talking about tonight. It's a rainy day. It's been a rainy day and a rainy night here, which is good. I love the rain. Not much thunder or anything, just buckets and buckets of rain, which is beautiful. The plants are loving it. And when I go to bed, I hope it rains again. It just stopped raining a little while ago. But I had to do this. Like I said, I was saying I had to do this because that's what people do. When you say you're going to do something, you do it. And it's a challenge. That's the whole idea. If it were a challenge, means it's something a little bit difficult, a little bit inconvenient, a little bit difficult to do sometimes. That's why it's called a challenge. And so I am doing my 30-day challenge and doing what I said I would do, because that's what leaders do. We complete. We say we're going to do something and we do it. If for some reason, some really serious reason, we can't do it, then that's a different conversation. But we do whatever it is we have to do to get done what we said we are going to do. And my work has been with women and young girls who have had difficulties in their lives, and in many instances, there are girls who, and women who at times have told me, Shirley, I really don't see the point of going any further. I have spent nights at women's bedsides trying to keep them awake so that we didn't lose them. I have responded to phone calls in the middle of the night and when I was on holiday and so on, because somebody was having a really difficult time and needed to get talked through something. And always, one of the things we ended up talking about was being able to depend on yourself, to trust yourself, and being able to trust people. Now, of course, it's not possible to trust people unless you can trust yourself. I know it sounds a little bit like a cliche, but that's a fact of life. And sometimes it's difficult to trust ourselves. For women, it's difficult anyway, because we've all been taught that. Everywhere in the world, we've been taught that women are not so smart, they're not so reliable, they're not so firm. Women change their minds all the time. It's a woman's prerogative to change her mind, but they make it sound like it's a bad thing. And then, of course, when you add things like abuse and violence and poverty and so on into the mix, then women. But it happens with everybody. But when you're missing all those things in life, then you lose trust generally that your life will get any better. It happens a lot, and so I've taken the time, lots of times, I've had to take the time to talk somebody through, and also to talk myself too, because it's happened to me from time to time. I just kind of wondered, why am I doing this? Oh my gosh, I'm just gonna, I'm not gonna do this anymore. I'm just gonna leave that alone. But then, I have given my word, and it's important to keep your word for yourself. So many times you start something and it becomes difficult, and you say, I'm done, I'm gonna leave it alone, and you abandon it halfway through. Sometimes that's the right thing to do, because if the evidence is that it's not going to work, or it's turning out to be harmful or not helpful, then you stop. But other times we just want to stop because it just gets difficult. gets challenging, it becomes challenging. And how we talk ourselves through that is we remind ourselves that it's important to do what you say you're going to do. You have to be your word. You have to be able to trust yourself to keep your word. And it'll be difficult to keep your word to other people if you can't keep your word to yourself. So if you say you're going to do something, you do it. Do it. And if you don't do it, if you find that there's a pattern of you not completing, not doing the things you say you're going to do, you'll also find that you don't trust yourself and other people won't trust you. So really and truly, when it boils down to it, the one thing, if there is one thing that helps you both be a trusting, and a trustworthy person, is being true to your word, especially your word to yourself. So when you say to yourself, I am going to do this on the weekend for me, do it. Or you start a project, complete it. It'll be easier when you are doing something with somebody for A, you to trust them to do what they say they're going to do, and B, for them to trust you to do what you say you're going to do. And if we can't trust one another, what do we have? There was a time when, I've read about it. It doesn't happen very much these days. There was a time when there was something called gentleman's agreement. The men would agree on something just by a shake of hands. They didn't have to sign 6 million documents, and people, generally speaking, well, not generally speaking, but many people were true to their word. I don't think there are any fewer people true to their word nowadays, but although people tell me so. People tell me it's just that you can't trust people nowadays because our communities are different, our societies are different. We work with one another differently, and we work with people we don't know a lot of the time, which is why a shake of the hand is not necessarily enough trust. Doesn't necessarily generate enough trust. So trust is critical. Trust is a critical part of our lives, whether as leaders or as people who are following a leader. Trust is absolutely critical. You have to be able to depend on people, depend on yourself. And the one thing I want to leave with you tonight is that you have to be able to trust yourself. Work on trusting yourself. And the way to do that is to do the things you say you're going to do. Even when they become challenging and difficult, do them anyway. Of course, there are exceptions. Like I said earlier, there will be exceptions, and that's fine. But in general, do what you say you're going to do, and your trust in yourself and your ability to do what you say you're going to do further on, and to follow through on things, and to complete and to accomplish and acquire the things you have in mind, fulfill your goals, reach your goals, becomes a whole lot easier and more frequent. You will reach your goals more easily, more frequently, and your highest goals if you develop trust in yourself. And you'll be able to trust people. And when you trust people, they tend to reflect back what you give them. So when you trust them, they tend to prove themselves trustworthy. Tend to. Of course, there are exceptions, and that is just life. But in the main, when you are trustworthy, you trust yourself, and other people can trust you, they also make themselves trustworthy to you, and you can trust them, and things in your life work better. So that's my midnight 19 day number 19, challenge day number 19. I thank you for being awake with me. I will see you on the next one. Have yourselves a pleasant night. Sleep well. If you're waking up, have yourselves a lovely day. Take good care.